I've been thinking lately about mercury. I can still remember as a graduate student playing with that silvery liquid metal and being fascinated by it. And I can still remember at the time finding myself coughing as though I were choking after having done it, deciding maybe this stuff wasn't as safe as I thought it was. I've been using my intuition lately and checking the results with my wife, since she is very skilled at it. And I wanted to tell you some of the conclusions I've come to about mercury, because some of the conclusions have been very interesting. First, if I ask about my mother, I'm told that she had mercury amalgam fillings in her mouth at the time she became pregnant, and they were still there when she gave birth to me and my brother and sister, which means that we were, all three of us, born with mercury in our bodies. If I ask my body about the situation, I hear that in fact the kidneys were not able to eliminate the mercury from the body, and so instead the body chose to do the best it could at isolating the mercury and containing it so it would be less of a poison for the rest of the body. If I ask where it is, I am hearing essentially everywhere, but there were major deposits in the pancreas and the liver. In fact, what I'm hearing is the body essentially was predicting the failure of my kidneys at birth from the poisoning of the mercury right from the beginning. Now, of course, my kidneys were destroyed by the fluid due to prostate swelling, so that presumably the failure happened sooner than it otherwise would have. I'm also hearing that the dialysis that I'm doing has helped quite a bit in eliminating mercury from my body, although certainly not all of it. The whole idea of mercury as a serious issue is a little frightening. I asked of the people that I know within the dialysis center, who are, as I am, in there because of kidney failure, how many of them are there because, how many of them have experienced mercury? And I'm getting every one of them. It's almost as though the presence of mercury or the experience of mercury in these bodies is the entire cause for every person receiving dialysis in that clinic. And of course, this is all intuitive, so I will not call it scientific, but at the same time, these intuitive answers are probably the reason that my wife and I have survived this far, and that our health is as good as it is. I tend to trust it. If there is still mercury poisoning going on in my body, and I gather there is, What can I do about it? The approach that comes to me is, first of all, that standard methods don't work very well. And I've already gone through this in previous sessions. There's no point in recapping it. But the fact that I was able to help my body with its asbestos issues long ago suggests that it might be possible to do something similar with mercury. And of course, in both cases, I'm using methods that others are not familiar with. So I should probably explain it. Let's assume that mercury, as a metal, has some kind of spirit, and that in order to become that metal, it had some kind of purpose or goal in mind. And of course, mercury plays a huge role in many areas, especially organic chemistry. And then I'm talking about a very positive role. Most of our foods, for example, contain mercury-containing compounds that are very important and we could not do without. So, if we ask the mercury in my body, is it content with a role of being contained as a poison? The answer is, I would say, an emphatic no. So if I offer this material my assistance in relieving it, and it would be a relief because it feels imprisoned. It certainly can't do what it expected to do when it became the metal it is. And I can offer it help by providing frequencies, because I have my little generator. I get an enthusiastic yes. Furthermore, what I hear is that the reason the mercury is regarded as a poison is because of its hunger for two things: water and many essential vegetable fats. If we can find a way to, at least temporarily, turn off that hunger, or I should say both of them because they're different, then the mercury would no longer be a poison in the body. It would not have to be isolated, and the body could simply remove it using normal, ordinary methods. And presumably I could actually eliminate the mercury from my body. Well, okay, what frequencies do I need? And the mercury itself is delighted to tell me. Now that is just wonderful. And if it sounds strange, that's exactly what happened when I went to the asbestos that had been with me since childhood. It happily gave me the frequencies I needed to convert it into something that the body could extract, and the asbestos was grateful when I provided the frequencies that would free it from what amounted to an eternal prison that it really hadn't bargained on. Asbestos, of course, is a building material. It's designed to be the base material for mountains, for rocks, for large structures, very strong structures. It's not designed to be part of a living, moving system. And the mercury, and similar, has its own proclivities, but being a poison imprisoned in a body is not what it wants either. So I went ahead and asked, and I got 5 frequencies which will temporarily, for about a week I think, satisfy mercury's hunger for water. There are 6 more frequencies that will satisfy its hunger for essential vegetable fats. I finished one of those groups, the water group, on Monday. And I have to tell you, the results have been remarkable. I wasn't expecting the result in my brain to be so strong. Let's talk about the different places in my body that have been affected, damaged by the presence of mercury. 1. Sugar metabolism. Mercury attracts a fungus which hides behind it. The body cannot destroy the fungus with the mercury there. Produces a big colony in the pancreas. The pancreas is now unable to handle insulin properly. And guess who ends up with a sugar problem? Me, at age 8. Quite serious. 2. Liver. Lack of digestive enzymes. 3. Digestive tract. Poor condition of the wall of the stomach, the skin there, means that the stomach must have low acid levels, the HCl that is supposed to be there, and as a result, food is poorly digested. Without the acid to break it down, much of it never does break down. It's simply excreted. That's 3. Now 4, damage to the hippocampus from mercury. Symptoms: memory loss and inability to form new memories. The hippocampus is responsible in large part for spatial memory. Memory of, I'm simply reminded of the time I called my wife from work and asked how to get home. Short-term to long-term memory is taken care of in the hippocampi. So apparently the hippocampus damage in this body have been quite serious. And as I understand it, I need to complete the zap for the vegetable fats before the hippocampus can completely recover. And finally, we've done 4, here's 5, Alzheimer's. The memory loss difficulties I have experienced in the past 10 or so years are a perfect description of the condition of an Alzheimer's patient in the early stages of the disease. That said, the results of what I am doing in the recent past seem to be mitigating, or I should say eliminating, these symptoms. So perhaps what I'm doing is curing Alzheimer's. Now remember something. I don't believe anybody truly knows what causes Alzheimer's. There simply are conditions that are recognized. And they are well known. But to the best of my knowledge, nobody, no human on earth right now, can stand up in front of you and say, I understand the entire reason for Alzheimer's, and here it is. I don't think anybody can do that. I'm not saying I can either. But what I can say is 2 years ago, I would have told you with some confidence that I had Alzheimer's. Now, I believe I can tell you I'm recovering from it. Now, one major factor in doing that appears to be eating fermented foods. One is kimchi. It's a Korean food involving chopped up cabbage. 2, coleslaw. And there are fermented soy products that are also invaluable. And I'm eating them every day now. I believe it is helping. After all is said and done, please understand that the mercury fillings, the amalgam fillings, are long gone from my mouth. They were removed by dentists who are familiar with this issue and know how to protect themselves and their patients from this poison while the tooth is drilled out. Please, if you have amalgam fillings, do not go to an ordinary dentist to have them removed. Have them removed, but by a dentist who knows how to protect you from the damage caused when that mercury is suddenly, and I would say violently, blown into the mouth cavity. Good to talk to you. I hope this is useful information. Bye now.